Welcome back to the Raza Film Podcast, Portrait of a Community. Today we have the coldest gangsta in all of Riverside here with us today, Victor Ramirez. He's also the father of Victor Adame Ramirez, screenwriter of Raza, and actress Brianna Adame Ramirez. We're so excited to have him here today. He's going to be telling us stories about his childhood, growing up in CB, and his love for Nori and how that saved his life one day. We are sponsored by the Eastside Art House. You can check out the link in the description below. There's a link to their website, and go ahead and support them as well. Spread the love all throughout Riverside.
Share a little bit about myself. I am the father of both of the kids, Brianna and Buddy. Little Victor, we call him Buddy. Share a little bit of background between their mom and myself. We go back when we were 13 years old, walking down the halls of Chevalier Middle School. Me and my friend Johnny walking down the hall. We see her walking across. So we're walking. I got my big trench coat. She loved when I used to wear that trench coat. So we're walking right, and I see her, I see a little cholita walking towards me, and we stop. Hey, are you a Domain? And she looks, she's like, yeah. So she's like, she just keeps walking all hard. I was like, damn, girl, hot.
Disclaimer: Domain is a social club in Casablanca.
Yeah, so that's how we ended up meeting. Shortly after we ended up being together. We were together for a little while, and then we split up for a couple years.
Was it your fault?
Yeah, I was young and dumb, didn't know at the time. It was stupid, slapping myself. No, it was my fault though. But God had this plan where we were going to get back together. So years down the line, we got back at my nephew's first birthday party. That's when we got back together. I started talking to her, and we've been strong ever since then. Not long after, we had Brianna, and we got married. In between that time, when we got back together, one night I was supposed to give her a promise ring. So I was with my friend Richard, and I showed my friend Richard, hey, check this out, man. I got this for Nori, So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. He shook my hand, that's cool, man. That's freedom. Just go ahead and do your thing. He was happy for me. Mm-hmm. So that night we're supposed to be cruising down Mission Boulevard out there on the west side. Mm-hmm. So he's like, just stay back, go ahead and give her the ring, and I'll come back and I'll swoop you up, and then we'll take off. So I gave her the ring. We're there. I went back to the house. I was waiting for him. That's when we didn't have cell phones. If you did have, that's the big old monster bricks that they used to carry. So he didn't show up. I ended up falling asleep. About 2 a.m. or so, his brother Jerry calls me, and then you could just hear in his voice, hey man, they shot Richard. And I was like, what do you mean? Is he okay? And that's when he's like, he's dead. He's just sitting in this car, just lumped over, just dead. And I was like, oh shit, that really hit me pretty hard. And I think from that point, I started seeing the gang life a little different. Just wasn't as fun as it used to be, because so many people that were so close to us were getting shot, were getting killed. At that point, a lot of our friends were starting to do life in prison. So it was just oh man, that's when you could say really started getting real at that point. So shortly after that, we had Brianna.
Well, just to clarify really quick, you're telling us that the night that your friend Richard got shot and ended up dying, you were supposed to be with him in the car, but instead you were giving the ring to Nori. Yes. At the same time. Yeah,
I was supposed to be in the car with him, and Richard got killed, and my friend Johnny got shot.
So your love for Nori saved your life.
Yes, actually it did. I never thought of it like that, but yeah.
Aw, that's nice.
And here I am now, almost 30 years later. We're still together. We're hitting it strong. 2 gifted kids. I'm Brianna with her master's. She's an actress. We got Buddy with his master's.
And you guys are young parents, so you had Brianna first, and you were how old at that point?
17 or 18.
That's really young.
Yeah. So I had to learn on the fly with her, yeah.
Well, that was a distraction, right? To kind of keep you away from everything else and all the noise.
Yeah, it definitely was. At that time, it was still what is it? Do you want this or do you want that? Growing up, as a kid, I always thought I'm either going to be dead or doing life in prison. So all this stuff was all new to me. It was just a trip to me. I was how do I do this? And it's funny because I always talk about I've been married for 27 years, going on 28, and then I knew once I proposed to Nori that she will say yes. But even like proposing to her at her house, I was so damn nervous. Like, and like she always laughs. Why would you be nervous? You know, I was gonna say yes. Like, I don't know, that doubt in my head. I mean, just like, because again, I go back to like as a kid, like I always thought I was gonna be dead or in prison. I'm like, the cariño wasn't really always shown.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it's just like being with the fellas. I mean, that's where like the love always showed. I mean, because like the connection we had with each other. Like, I mean, walking down the streets. I mean, doing everything together. You know, getting arrested and I mean, getting drunk and overdosing with each other. Like, it was just, that was the life, you know, that we did. So like that connection we had, that love we had, I think with that, like I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that. And then like the love Nori and I started to build, you know, and then like it just grew pretty strong where I'm able to show that to my kids. I mean, you know, like trying to, hey, like, this is me. Like, you know, I just want them to know that I love them with all my heart. Not doing anything. Like, I never knew what to expect with all of this. You know, like with having a family, raising a family. Like, I mean, I was just like, that was just my upbringing, like gang banging and drugs and running from the cops and, you know, everyone around me getting shot, getting killed, doing life in prison. I mean, it was just like, that was just the generational cycle that we were caught up in.
So it was glamorized in a way, kind of just made it easy to become infatuated with that lifestyle, and you fell into that because of what you saw or because you had family in it, or what was the reason you kind of fell into that?
I think a lot of it goes back to my mom's brother, my uncle. Like, he's kind of set the foundation for us, because I mean, he's the one that started running with the older guys from Fern Street. So him being like a part of it, and then my older brothers kind of following suit. So me seeing my brothers doing it, I was like, okay, well, if these guys are doing it, I want to do the same thing. I mean, because really, like, they were my role models. I really didn't have like a influential role model, you could say. It was just more like street related, like gang related, like role models that I had. I mean, like, that's just the community we were at. It wasn't like, oh man, like, this guy's doing this, look at this. Like, no, it was just like, this is what it is, you know?
I think something a lot of people don't understand, maybe because they weren't surrounded by that life, is why do you guys do it? Like, why is it so exciting? Like, what makes it a thrill? What makes it the life you want to lead?
I think a lot of it's just like the love, like you end up having for each other. Like, you're always together, everything you do together. I mean, like, you know, one gets hurt, you got the whole posse, like, you know what I mean, suiting up and getting ready to like go to war for each other. I mean, like, you know, now you think about it, it sounds dumb. I mean, because you're out there like banging for a neighborhood, banging a street that doesn't even know you. Like, I mean, it's just like, it's jacking up your life at the end of the day, and then for what? You know, like, for nothing. I mean,
but it's that bond and that loyalty and that brotherhood that kind of just ties everyone together, no matter what the reason you're doing what you're doing.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, like, the guys that grew up with, I mean, solid 100%, every single one of them. I mean, it sounds dumb, but any one of them would have died for each other, or any one of them would have killed for one of us. I mean, like, you know, just that's how tight the whole crew was that we rolled with. I mean, yeah, but the tightness we had, like that love. I mean, like, you know, like, it's just that was just our block that we grew up together with. I mean, like, everything we did together, going all over the place. I mean, like, terrorizing like different neighborhoods all over Riverside. I mean, all over CB. I mean, that was just like what the thrill about it. I mean, like, and I go back to like running from the cops. I mean, like, several times I ran from the cops and they never caught me. They only caught me if I was drunk, but other than that, they weren't catching me. I mean, I had some wheels on me, like, and I had one time that cop was right behind me, and I smoked him. I mean, like, and that guy, like, I was jumping fences. I looked back, he was gone. And I was just chilling at the bleachers waiting, and I see my brother Jose Rigo pull up. Hey, fool, they ain't leaving mom's house until you turn yourself in. And I was like, damn, all right, let's roll. I jumped in this car, and I go over there, and they arrest me. I was like, but that's just like, that was a thrill that we had going out there.
It was a high.
Mean,
it was a high.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, walking down the street, and you hear about 20 gunshots just like flying by. Ding, 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 like, you know, they were there ducking and stuff, like, oh, yeah, shit, damn. Let's go back, man. Let's do this.
It was a hit.
Yeah, you know, like, or we're sitting at the house watching a movie in the living room, like, with my mom. We're all just there just chilling, and you hear about 20, 30 gunshots, right? Like, is that at the house? Nah, these fools shit at the house. And we go outside, the house is all shot up. Like, oh, shit, they shot at the house. You know, like, but it was just fun. I mean, you know, and then we go back to an incident where my mom got shot. I mean, like, you know, she's like, oh, hell yeah, it's all now. It's cracking. I mean, you know, it's just like all that thrills.
Sorry, did you say your mom got shot?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, my mom got shot. So, thug.
Where did she get shot?
They did a drive-by at the house, so as they're shooting, she happened to duck, and it's like, it didn't go all the way in her, but it grazed her in the head. So, like, you know, luckily, like, she was able to, like, just, and then,
Does she have a bald spot from that?
she has like a little line, and she tattooed 3 dots.
I believe that. Okay, hold on. Let's recap.
I'm serious.
I know you're serious. Okay. So your mom got shot. Was that scary at all? Were you just so in it that you were like, well, it's just a Tuesday?
I mean, like, cause you know, you get word, hey, your mom got shot, and it's like, you know, so you start tripping out, like, damn, like, is she okay and stuff like that, you know? So, but it was just like it was just so many different shootings at the same time. It was just like, you know, there's a shooting here, there's a shooting there. I mean, like I think the week before, they pulled up to the house and pulled out a gun on my little brother. My little brother was like, I think like 10 years old.
Oh, what? That's
eating a bag of Doritos with his 2-liter. You know, that was his thing, walking around like my brother Carlos. Like, you know, that was his thing. And
he was also on the panel. He was a panelist as well. We'll have him on soon. But yeah, so
he's there eating a bag of chips, and dudes roll up in the car and pull the gun out on him, and like, luckily the gun doesn't shoot. So at that time he drops the soda, but not the Doritos, and he takes off running.
As long as he had his Doritos, he was
chilling. You know, so.
Well, that's interesting. Like, so you're saying he was just 10 years old. He was just sitting outside.
He was standing outside.
Okay,
yeah.
He's standing outside, and the police just came in.
No, not the police. It was some other dudes we get along with.
Is there nothing against hurting children? Like, is it just because at that point he was just with you, like your brother is? I feel like there should be kind of like.
Well, they're supposed to be. I mean, you know, but different people, you don't get along with. I mean, like different cultures have different set of rules.
Yeah. So it's easy to kind of like just gain all these enemies, even if you're not involved at that point, because Carlos wasn't involved, but he's related to you. So does that fear kind of like weigh in on you once you get married, once you have kids? Like, it could affect my kids one day, even though they're not doing anything wrong. Like, maybe like if I'm still here, one day is it going to catch up to them?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, you always like gotta stay on your toes, pretty much. You know, like. You know, and you care for your kids, especially like if they look a lot like you. I mean, because there's other people out there that, no matter what, like, you know, they hold this grudge and they don't grow up. I mean, like, you know, like, all right, like we're adults now, like that's it, like, you know, I mean, it's a wrap, you know. But some people that just, I don't know, like they don't grow up. They want to continue to live in that lifestyle. And yeah, you're right. I mean, I guess it's true what you're saying. Like, you know, I do fear for my kids. I mean, like I don't want nothing to happen to them, because I know if something was to happen to them, everything that I have accomplished, it's down the drain. I mean, like, you know, at that point, it's like I'll go batshit crazy. You know, like that's what I live for, is my kids and my wife. You know, so definitely. I mean, you know, like I just want them to be safe at all times. You know, so
it's interesting because before it seemed like your love source, I guess, would be like your brotherhood and that loyalty you had with your block, and now. I mean, I know you pretty well at this point, and I feel that you just love that strong still. You still have that loyalty, but now you've kind of transformed that into your new family. Do you think that a lot of that ability to love so generously comes from what you learned when you were growing up?
I would say so. I mean, definitely, because I feel like in the family, like, I'm not talking shit about my family or nothing, like, but we really didn't have that. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't have, like, and I mean, like, with my parents and stuff like that. I know they loved us, but...
I mean, you've always been a really caring person, because my first memory of you is actually I slept over here because I was watching an Irvine versus CBU basketball game, and I slept over because I couldn't drive home. It was raining, and I woke up, and you were handing me a sandwich from Johnny's, and I was like, why is he feeding me? Like, I was like, why does he care if I ate this morning? Like, it was just, like, new to me. I never, ever met, like, a stranger that just, like, cared. Like, just, like, cared about my well-being. Like, just met me last night, and that was, like, my first impression of you. So that's why I was asking, is because I think that you are able to give so much to people, and I think that shows in your career choice as well. So I'm wondering, do you think that there was a positive that came out of growing up in a neighborhood like that?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like as far as that goes, like feeding other people, like I go back to like when we were kids, like my mom would always like hook up a big old table full of food, and a lot of our friends would come over to eat. So like I mean that's one thing that always like I try to do the same thing. Like whenever the kids have people over, I don't mind feeding them or inviting my brothers over for food or friends, family, whoever it is. I mean, I think just that's something that was brought. I mean, that I was brought up with, so I just continue to do the same thing. I mean, and now learning like my mother-in-law kind of does the same thing too. So like getting a lot from her too. So I try to do the same thing like with other people too. So
I briefly mentioned that influenced your career choice. Do you want to talk a little bit about your new career? Because I know that you spent 20 years working with the district, but then you moved on to something else. So how did you get started with that? It's
a funny story. To me, it is. One day, the kids and Nori took me to RCC. Like, hey, like we were supposed to go like at some classes or something. Or Nori was supposed to go take the test to sign up to see if you could enroll in it. And then when I get there, like we roll up, all four of us go in the car, right? So, okay, like we go in there, sign in, Victor. So I sign in. I was like, why am I signing in this stupid thing? Like I don't know why I'm doing this. And then like, okay, we'll be back after you're done. I was like, what do you mean? They were there for me to sign up, and I didn't even know. And Nori knew at that point, like, hey, like you have a gift. I mean, you gotta like use it. So from that point forward, I mean, at RCC, like, I just started going to school. Like, I didn't know what I was doing at that point. I just took the hardest thing is like I tell everyone that I work with or come in contact with, the hardest thing to go to school is just signing up and doing that first class. After that first class, I mean, like, you're going to be like, oh, man, this is it. I mean, like, you just start doing the damn thing. I mean, intimidating, definitely. I mean, me being a little bit older and then, like, going to RCC and having a whole bunch of young kids in there, and back then, like, I didn't know what the hell Avid and all this other stuff was. I mean, like, you see all these kids with Avid sweaters and, and, like, I'm like an old-ass dude. They're, like, banging like
how old were you at that point?
I want to say, like, 32, I want to say.
32.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, and I'm just sitting there with my long white socks, what I mean? Like, I'm just keeping it real, my white T-shirt and stuff, and, like, looking at everybody, like, we're like, oh, hell no, what am I doing? And, like, I mean, I'll sit in the very, very front. I mean, just because I can't see as it is. So I'm, like, trying to, like, make sure I can, like, see whatever's there, right? So, like, I just started hitting it, and then from there, like, I was like, man, these fools are straight stupid, these young-ass high school kids. Like, because I was acing all the classes, and these fools were all dropping now, getting Fs, and I was like, I got this. So I just kept going and going and going. And like I said, shortly later, like I went to Cal State San Bernardino. One of my best experiences ever. I mean, like, just being there, being able to graduate in the Latino graduation that they have there.
What were you studying at San Bernardino?
Psychology.
Psychology. Okay.
Yeah. That's when, like I shared, one of my best memories. I have one of my best pictures is like Nori and myself. Like we're in the front of the thing, and she's like just there. She's in her dress, and I'm in my whole whatever.
When you're graduating.
Yeah, so she's there fixing me up, and then I don't know. I think Brianna or somebody took the picture of us. So like that's like one of my favorite pictures of us. Shortly after the graduation, coming out to see my dad there, just to see like the tears in his eyes, just like made me feel like inside like that. They're like, oh hell yeah, like.
That's my boy.
Like, yeah, like, and me, I'm like, this is for you. Like, like, because, I mean, Jose.
Why for him? Why for your dad?
Well, Carlos, I mean, Carlos was locked up. He was already in prison. Jose was doing life in prison. These are my brothers.
Your brothers.
Yes. Yeah. And then Julio had like a 24-year term already.
Could you go down the list of them? Or you also.
Yeah, my brother Jose, and he was doing life in prison. He just came home a couple years ago, doing really good. Then I got Julio, he's still in prison, doing 24 years in the feds. Then I got my brother Carlos. He did 10 years, came home, and he's also doing good. That's the one that was on the panel too.
But you said this is for my dad. Why was this for your dad?
Just because, like, like the upbringing. My dad always tried to instill education is key. Education, and he'd always get pissed off like whenever we'd be there and. We shave our heads like, yeah, pinche, ¿por qué haces chingadera? Te miras como un pendejo, like, so it's just like that was just I guess the culture we were in. I mean, like, everyone else is balling their hair, so we were doing it. I mean, I couldn't comb my hair back because my hair would be all wavy and go all kinds of crazy directions. So to me, it was easier to shave it. For my dad, because like again, just definitely like the instilling education. I mean, like him always telling us that. I mean, like I knew like I made him proud. I mean, because he always tells me, "No, tú eres el más peor de todos los cabrones." Y mira, you know. So like, and in English, like you're the worst of all of them. And now look at you, you know. So coming out like in my whole cap and gown and stuff, and like you know with the Mexican colors and stuff, like you know on me, like just looking at his face. I mean, of course, I wanted to see like my wife and my kids and stuff. I mean, like. But inside, like I wanted to see like my dad's reaction to it, like you know, like so that just like oh man, like it felt so damn good, like for me to give him that on behalf of my brothers, like me and my brothers, like you know, like here, like one of us did something for you, like you know, like that just made me feel really really good. I mean, you know, so from there I started doing probation. Me and probation didn't do well with each other.
And what does that mean? You were doing probation at that point.
I started working for San Bernardino County Probation Department. My game plan was to work with kids. I mean, kind of the kids were like how I grew up, gang related, running from the police. I mean, like the drug infested neighborhood. I mean, like kind of giving these kids away. Like you know, hey, like you could do this, man. Like I mean, there's a way out. I mean, you don't have to fall in this generational cycle that everyone thinks they're just going to be a statistic to. No, like there's stuff out there, but growing up in Nevada like that, we don't know. You know, like it's like my friend Gabriel Murillo said in one of his podcasts. It's just like we normalize everything. It's okay. It's okay if you get shot. It's okay if this person gets killed. Like we're so immune to it, like, and it shouldn't be that way.
And
like,
it's crazy to think because once you step out of that, you start to realize like that isn't normal. Like that is not okay. Yeah. And once you come out of that, you can share that to these kids because you're that example. You already set the example with your actions. So that has to be a prideful point right there. Like, I'm sure you're really proud. So when you meet these kids and you see yourself in them, how do you approach them? Do you tell them what to do? Do you give them advice? Do you just start talking about yourself? What's the key there to change a kid's life?
I think one of the key things is you got to meet the kids where they're at. I mean, definitely. But before I get there, I just want to jump back to the probation really quick.
Okay, we weren't done with the probation?
No, because when that's why I was going into where I wanted to help the kids, right?
Okay.
So when I had an interview with the chief probation officer, I kind of shared my plan with the way I wanted to work with the kids, and his approach is like, no, see, you're in the wrong field here. Here, we're here to max these kids out. That's it. We don't give them no breaks. So at that point, I was like, son of a bitch. When I got arrested, that's why I didn't get no break. Because this is their mind. I was like, these fuckers. Like, all right, I see where it is. Okay, cool. All right. So at that point, I was like, all right, I'm good, man. I don't need this anymore. Like, I never went back. I mean, like, I didn't need it. I was fine being a custodian, but
so your plan was to get your bachelor's degree and then work with the probation?
At that point, yes.
Oh, and that's when you kind of were like, this is not what I'm about. I don't believe in this. No. And you were ready to just go backwards and stay in a place that you didn't believe in them.
And to be honest, a lot of the reason why I wanted to be probation, to carry that gun, like, legit. I mean, I'm being real, like, you know what I mean? Because I always carried a gun for the wrong reasons. And this time I was like, you know, I'm going to have a gun. And no one can tell me shit. I can go wherever I want to go. Like, here, like, bam, like, you know, like, have 2 guns on me, and no one can say nothing to me.
What about 3?
Why not? No, but you know, because even like when I got arrested, like it was like my PO was always going to like juvenile hall, like to interview me, and then when I was doing probation, it felt good for me to be the probation officer going to interview other people.
Right.
Like it was just like I was on the other side. And I was like, oh damn, like how can I help?
This whole time they weren't trying to help you.
No. You know, so that's like, you know, and at that point I was like, you know what? I said, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, you know, so I went home. I was talking to my wife, and she's like, well, just go back to school, see what else you could do. So I applied to Cal Baptist, and in 2.5 years, I got my master's in counseling psychology with my marriage family therapist like certificate. And then from there, I had to complete my 3,000 hours. I mean, it's a pain in the ass to do it. I mean, like it's really hard battle to do it. So I had to take the test to become a state licensed therapist. It took me 3 times to pass the test.
And what happened on May 29th, 2024 at 10:22 a.m.?
Passed that beast.
You sure did.
I beat that beast. I mean, and like anyone that's taken that test knows, like it's not something like.
And this is the test, just to clarify. This test is taken after you finish your bachelor's, after you finish your master's, after you complete 3,000 hours, and then you're eligible to take this test. And not many people pass it, but once you do, what does that do for where you stand?
Well, now I'm a state licensed therapist. I mean, marriage family therapist. So now, like, more doors open for me. I mean, you know, being a Latino, not many Latinos in this field. Being bilingual, not many bilingual male therapists as in this field. I mean, to me, it opens more doors in a sense. Like, I could do more things. I could work with kids if I want. I could do a lot of pro bono work now. I could do a lot of things where before, when I was like a registered associate, I had to work under my supervisor's license. So my work was limited. So now that I'm completely on my own, I could do whatever I want on my license now. When I was locked up, it's like, do I want to just sit there and like just stand up with the other guys and just sit there like look at each other, or do I want to like just do something while I'm in here? And then I knew like going and speaking with my counselors, like, hey, like if you get your diploma or GED or whatever, they'll release you quicker. So that stuck in my head. I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna knock this shit out. And to me, school wasn't easy. I mean, like,
Was it?
It was easy. It was easy. I'm sorry, it was easy.
Yeah.
You know, it was super easy. So I forgot you got to take that one test. I don't know if you still got you to graduate. So in my 9th grade year, I mean, I took it and I passed it when I was out here. So in there, all I had to do is do all my credits. And once I did all my credits, I was done. I mean, like, I went to go turn in my pack, and he's like, hey, dude, you're done. I mean, you'll be going home like pretty quickly. And I was like what? Like, seriously? I was like, yeah, you're done. This is it. So like, I mean, I guess in the back of my head, my dad's like voice was always there, like, hey, like education. But I think at that point it was just because like I wanted to get it done in a sense, you know. So then I came home. I mean, like, you know, I came home a little bit earlier than I was supposed to, and then like it felt good because when we were kicking it on the block, I mean, kicking it on Fern, while we were there, like the probation will come up on us and like, you know, they'll rate us and they'll start taking everyone in. And my mom is running down from the house. No, aquí está. So she's showing my high school diploma, you know. So I was like, she gave it to my PO, and then like, I think my PO was like David Crow, or I think that was his name. And she gave it to him, Toma, and he read it. He's like, he let him go. So,
really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So like, and all my friends, I was like, yeah, sucker. You know, because like a lot of us had just got home too. So, but me like. And back in my house, like, I'm going to get this done because I don't have to do it. I mean, so I guess, like, in my mind back then, I was like, you know, like, it just, like, little bits played out. I mean, and I just didn't know back then, like, how everything was going to play out. I mean, you know, like I said, I never once thought, like, I was going to get married. I was going to have kids. I mean, I always thought, like, I was going to be either dead or in prison. It's going to be one or the other that I was going to be doing. But, I mean, God had a different plan for me.
Because I wanted to know, like, timeline, like you kind of like started separating yourself from that, started going to school, or did you get married first? Like, what was the timeline? Like, how did that start? Where like you kind of just like what pivot your life into like a different direction?
I think what changed it, a lot of it was giving Nori the promise ring. Definitely having Brianna, getting married at 18. I mean, like from there it was just like kind of pull back. I mean, I still talk to all my friends. I mean, like I'm cool with all of them. I got a lot of love for all the guys I grew up with. Definitely. I mean, like, you know, so that's kind of where I started changing. And, you know, shortly a little bit later, that's when Buddy was born. So, I mean, at that point, like, I just like, I'm cool with, like, you know what I mean? Like I'll talk to them when I see them, but you won't catch me in the streets. I mean, doing any of that stuff. I mean, like, I'll stay away from all that stuff. I mean, you know, just, I feel like at this point I got too much to lose to get caught slipping in the streets or something, you know. So I definitely got to be smart of the choices that I make now.
And I'm sure you guys are all wondering what I got on and what swag I got on with me today, and that is the Raza Film t-shirt. It's going to drop this week. Make sure to get your own. We'll have a link in the description below. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. That was Victor Ramirez, the father of the screenwriter and actress in Raza the Film. We're so happy he was here to tell us his stories about how he changed his life, became a licensed therapist, and all the success that comes with it. He's a strong member of this community, and on that note, next week we're going to be having Gabriel Avila come and join us on the podcast to tell his story and how he changed his life as well. So make sure to tune in next week for that.